All right, hello.
Welcome back. Okay, shall we continue, Mr. Bayu?
Yeah, sure. Hold on. Let me just admit some of the participants. Sorry. Mute. Okay. All right. Sorry for the interruption, but I hope that it doesn't disrupt the flow so much. So that was the castle competency wheel. Red, blue, and green. Red is inner self, and blue is towards others, and green is the cognitive and how they do decision making. Right, so, Ms. Mathilda, how do we implement the SEL?
Okay, yeah, so let's see first, before we discuss more particularly how we teach SEL through ATL skills, let's see how each of the units are usually implemented separately. Yeah, in the sense, how we usually incorporate SEL in our lessons. And then the next one, Mr. Bayu will share with us how we usually or we are expected to incorporate ATL in our lessons. And then let's start with the SEL implementation first and its common practices. Yeah, I hope the time will be enough. So I will try to make it to speak a little bit faster, but hopefully it will still be clear for all of us. Yeah, and whenever you have questions or things to be shared with, because I believe all of us are experts in teaching. And I believe we have a lot of very good experience in terms of implementing this in the classroom. Yeah, so let's make it as a sharing session. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this one, yeah. As you can see, oh, sorry, for the previous slides, Mr. Bayu.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Perhaps some of us might ever heard about these statements, the one that I highlighted in green. Yeah, there's no such thing as a balanced education. It is either we strengthen the academic skills or we strengthen the characters and emotional skills. Yeah, perhaps we often heard that, or we also have that that assumption. Yeah, I think it's normal and it's valid. Yeah, because of course, as an educator, we have a lot of things to do. Yeah, we often overwhelmed with the demand of the curriculum, how that we should deliver all our teaching materials, yeah, within a period of time. And then by the time we hear that, okay, you need to also pay attention with the students' characters, yeah, and then pay attention with their emotions, yeah, and so on and so forth. Then at the time, I believe I also experienced it that it's a valid feeling that we feel overwhelmed and we feel like, okay, this is an extra work. Yeah, so this is what we usually think about emotional, social and emotional learning. Yeah, like as in a very specific way, how teaching it in the classroom. So it's an additional burden. It's an additional work for us. Yeah, so, but the fact is that the skills that students need to be able to learn our subject's skill, SEL provides it. So the things like reflection, perseverance, and focus, and so many of the SEL skills. Yeah. And the question isn't whether we can or we should teach these skills, but how to do it, especially when we are already swamped trying to meet our academic goals. Yeah, just like I said earlier. Okay, next slide, sir. Yeah, so talking about SEL, these are the four elements or principles in teaching SEL skills. Let's make it as a guidance. Yeah. When we are about to teach SEL skills, it needs to be sequenced, in sequence. Means that we follow the training approaches, just like how we teaching approaches that we are using in our subjects. It needs to be in sequence because it is skill. Yeah, so we need to be able to make sure that within the process, the skills is being developed properly. So it needs to be in sequence. For example, I want to teach relationship skill in a very specific, dealing effectively with conflict. Yeah, misalnya, for example. So I will start, if it's a standalone activity, yeah, where we have like extra time to teach only SEL, we can start with a hook activity, just like in our lessons, and then followed with what and why we should learn the skill. So the students will know the purpose. And then in the second meeting, if the time is not enough within our first period, for example, then the next period we can continue teaching the same skill, but this time with an activity. It can be a case study, it can be a role play, etc. Yeah, so this is just an example for if you have extra time to teach only the SEL skill as a standalone activity. But if you the suggested one is actually to incorporate them in our lesson. Yeah, so we don't need extra session to teach only SEL or to teach. It's the same thing with ATL. Yeah, actually, the IB curriculum, they don't want us to have a special session to teach ATL. Yeah, they want it to be incorporated in our lesson. So if we are about to incorporate it in our lesson, then the step one, for example, we have hook activity. Yeah. Just like you have planned in your planning. But first, you need to identify which SEL skill can be practiced in that type of activity of your lesson. Yeah, example, yeah, perhaps a concrete example. In my lesson, misalnya, I want my students to learn about stereotype because this is psychology subject. Stereotype, okay. So my hook activity will be showing some images of people with tattoos, people with dirty clothes carrying weapons, for example, and people wearing black long veils, ya cadar gitu ya, pakai cadar. And then I'll ask my students what comes into their thoughts when they see each picture. And then after they share their thoughts, I will reveal the people's true identity. Then I will discuss with them that that's stereotyping. And then one of the SEL skill that we need to prevent us from having negative stereotyping is social awareness, where we practice to understand others and to make wiser judgments towards others. Towards others. Yeah, so only like by stating it explicitly as a conclusion of a hook activity, then that's the time you give like a bit or a brief exposure to the students. Yeah, so only by stating that in your conclusion of the hook activity, it takes less than a minute. Yeah, but you have already teaching it explicitly. Okay, so that can be like the first step of teaching, for example, social awareness. Okay, and then the second principle of teaching SEL is active. It means that we try our best to provide our students with the time to practice the skill. Yeah, it can be during a standalone activity or during our subject lesson time. Yeah, so we must give them the time to practice the skill as well. It can be through our lesson activity. Yeah, but we need to mention which skill that we are about to practice here, which SEL skill that we are about to practice. Yeah, and then focused. Yeah, the third one is focused, means that we intentionally teach the skill. Same like ATL. Yeah, we need to intentionally teach it. This is where our unit plans or lesson planning play a big role, because when we intentionally teach the skill, we will also plan it carefully. Yeah, because we want to see how our students develop the skills throughout our lessons. Yeah, I believe all of us are implementing teaching ATL and SEL already in our classrooms. But most of the time, the common issues or common difficulties with us when it is about to teach ATL or SEL is that we implement it, but it is not stated on our planning, or the other way around. We plan it, but we don't implement it in the classroom. So usually that's the common issues, but that is also okay because we're in learning. As long as we know, we equip ourselves from time to time on how to implement it in the classroom. Okay, and then the fourth principle is to be explicit, means that we mention the specific skill and which attitude represents and can foster the development of that skill. Yeah, so that's the four principle when we are about to teach the SEL skills. It is more or less the same with teaching ATL. Yeah. Okay. So next, Mr. Bayu. Yeah, this is I will show with you briefly some examples of activities which foster the social and emotional learning, but I believe all of us have done it before. So this is just brief, just collecting some of the examples. But this one, the one that you are seeing now, is a standalone activity. You can use it just like the one we use with the mood meter, with the mood meter. So it has emotional check-ins. We use it at the beginning of our lesson. Yeah, just 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be always this every beginning of the lesson. Yeah, we can alternate with other activities. Yeah, and then let's see this one. Okay, this one is actually a self-monitoring checklist for my students' IA. So we use this checklist throughout the process of working on their IAs. When I first shared this Google Sheet with my students, I highlighted that this is also, I mentioned this sentence to them, that this is also to practice your SEL skill, specifically self-management and responsible decision-making, that it will help you to manage your emotion better, because this checklist acts also as a guideline and a progress tracker. And by having this and using this, it will give you a sense of security, in the sense that you will know what to do next and what are expected from each chapter of the IA. So it will somehow like psychologically give them sense of security. Yeah, so I mentioned that to my students when I first shared the file for them to be used. Yeah, and then the next example for SEL implementation, Mr. Bayu. Yeah, this is these are like vision boards. This is usually used as standalone activity. Yeah, or I don't know, perhaps in some of the subjects you can also have it. Yeah, if you cannot use it in your lesson because of the nature or the topics of the subjects, you can use it if you are a homeroom teacher. You can also use this during homeroom time. Yeah, and I know that some schools has life skills subject. Yeah, usually it will be taught during that lesson. Yeah, like the vision board. Yeah, because these will teach them self-management skill and also responsible decision making as well. Yeah, for vision board. Okay, for the next one, it's another example. This one is more of a school-wide collaborative project, which also foster the social and emotional learning. So this is a website. Actually, we will share with you also the link to the website. This one is created by my volunteering students. Yeah, in our school who signed up to be the organizer and manager of the school's safety net program. So this is from student to student program. It is initiated by the counselors collaborating with a group of volunteering students who are really care of mental health issues within their school community, and they really would like to contribute something to their community. So the site provides a lot of resources related to mental health and easy access to the counselors, easy access to the mental health professionals. Yeah, and then all resources are planned, visually designed, created, and published by the students. Yeah, and then monitored and supervised by the school counselors. So this program really accommodates students to continuously practice social awareness and relationship skills. Okay, this one is a more school-wide project. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So that was about SEL. Yeah, that was about SEL. Because SEL is the main topic. Yeah, the main skill that we would like to. We would like us to learn and practice more to be implemented in the classroom because of its importance in academic. Yeah, please, Mr. Bayu, you can continue with the ATL implementation.
Yes, and thank you so much, Ms. Mathilda. I think what she has shared is really true. I mean, when we are teaching the students all these skills, we have to be explicit. Just like when we are implementing ATL in our lessons, we not only we put that in our lesson plan, but we also tell the students that, hey, right now we are learning this ATL skills. Yeah. And for SEL, later on, we will also see that, hey, other than ATL skills, we are also learning this particular SEL skills. And so that's the part where we have to be explicit, yeah, in our implementation. So for the ATL itself, I think this is most of you might have known this. It is clearly embedded into your lesson planners, be it as the SOW or like unit planners, yeah, and also explicit, yeah, and it explains the connections of the ATL skills, yeah, with the topic being taught. Yeah, for example, like just now, Ms. Mathilda asked about stereotypes. Yeah, so what are the ATL skills being used? Yeah. So in a way, the ATL implementation and the SEL implementation, they are about the same. Yeah, so this is where we want to bridge them. Yeah, so we don't have to have a standalone activities that will take up more time. We have limited resources in terms of time, in terms of manpower, in terms of other things. Yeah. Classroom, maybe rooms, room availability. Yeah, so rather than we teach them like not individually, sorry, as a standalone lesson, I think just like ATL, SEL should be embedded in almost all the subjects, and it is possible to do that. Yeah. If you have ATL skills embedded into your planners, yeah, already in your planners, then most of the time you can also do so for your SEL skills. Yeah. So how do we do that? How do we bridge ATL and SEL? Okay, let's take a look at these two. Yeah. So on your right, that's the ATL skills, and on your left is your SEL skills. Yeah. So this is the first one. I'm going to show you how we can map self-management in ATL into SEL. So basically self-management, both of them are present in both skill set. Okay, so organization, affective skills, reflection skills, these are part of the ATL self-management, which is also in line with the self-management in social and emotional learning. So if you have embedded self-management as part of your lesson plan for your ATL, that means you can also put self-management as your SEL skills for that particular lesson. Okay. All right, next one. Communication. Okay, communication, it encompasses even more competencies in SEL. So when you have communication, and I think communication, almost all lesson will have communication. Yeah. So communication itself, it can be part of responsible decision making, the yellow one. Yeah, sorry, it should be, yeah, the color code is like that. Yeah. Yeah, but responsible decision making, that's communication. Yeah. Whether you are speaking, basically, are you using like ethical concern when you are communicating results of studies and all that? Yeah. And also, it is part of the social awareness. When you are communicating things, are you aware of the diversity in your classroom? I mean, the students can do that as well. Yeah. Being how to say, racially sensitive in their communication in the classroom. Yeah. And also, are they fostering good relationship skills when they're communicating with their friends? Are they using positive words when they're providing feedbacks to others? Right. So that's for communication. Again, however, I have to emphasize this, that all these arrows, yeah, the yellow arrows that we have made, this is not definitive. So basically, if you can find a link of communication to, let's say, self-awareness, then by all means, yeah. Next one. Okay, another example is to put social skills in ATLs into relationship and social awareness. So basically, these two, the two SEL competencies, relationship, social awareness, these are the outward skills, like I said before. So collaboration, yeah, social skills in ATLs, this is pretty much in line with the two SEL skills. Yeah, so if you have embedded social skills as part of your lesson plan, then most probably you can also use social awareness and relationship skills as your SEL components in your subject. Next one, research. Okay, research social awareness, and it could also be something like self-management, because, yeah, like I said, this is not definitive. Yeah, I just thought of it like just now. Research can also be like self-management. Yeah, basically, like how do you manage yourself not to, let's say, plagiarize somebody else? Yeah, so that can be part of self-management or even self-awareness. Yeah, so here I map it out to responsible decision making, because when students do research, they also have to be aware of the ethical implications of their research, and also will their research benefit others? You know, what are the social benefit of it, you know, of their research, and that can go into social awareness. Yeah. Okay, and the next one, last one, thinking. Yeah. Okay, for thinking, yeah, it can go into self-awareness, it can go to responsible decision-making, and also self-aware, social awareness. You know, creative thinking, critical thinking, yeah, these are the things that the students have to, not have to, but like they should develop and they should use when they're making decisions. Yeah, and being able to transfer their knowledge, you know, that itself can go into social awareness, how they are benefiting the society. Yeah. But again, like I said, these arrows are not definitive. These are just examples how we can map them out. Yeah. So our main point is that if you already have ATL skills in your lesson planner, then most probably you are able to find which of these SEL components, the CASEL competencies, can match your ATL, and write it down in your lesson planner and make it explicit to the students. Yeah. So that's one of the ways that we can do it.
Yeah, the difference will be the additional part, the very little but matter additional part that you need to add during your lesson is just because you have already taught ATL skill, but during your lesson, you can mention, you can add that this is also practicing SEL skill, and which skill, and the example of the attitude, yeah, or the behavioral strength that that are expected, yeah, from them. yeah, to be able to practice that specific SEL skill. So yeah, we just need to add more emphasis, yeah,
Yes.
on which aspect, yeah,
Yeah.
during when we are in the classroom. Yeah. Okay,
For
so
example, this one, Miss, I think this is your
yeah,
lesson planning.
just yeah, one
Yeah.
example, the unit planner. Yeah. Okay, so from what Bayu has shared, this way we don't need to dedicate a session specifically to teach SEL skill, because actually we already implemented our ATL teaching in our lessons. Yeah, we just need to find the connections, and then we plan and explain it intentionally during our subject lesson. And then this is one unit example of a unit plan. Of course, all of us, we must put the ATL skills that we plan to teach, yeah, during our lesson. And this one is still my lesson about stereotype. And then I plan to have, of course, in the nature of my activity in this session, in this specific period, it will help the students practice communication and critical thinking for the ATL. Yeah. And then because I have communication and critical thinking embedded in my lesson, so the next slides, yeah, it means that I also teach there. I can also teach relationship skill and then also social awareness skill. Actually, because I have found the link between those two ATL skills and those two SEL skills. And then I put it in my planning because I want to teach it. I intentionally teach it. So I want it to be explicit on my lesson plan as well as when I'm in the classroom. Okay, so perhaps we can move to the last slide. Okay,
Last
no.
two.
Okay, so this is just, so after I put it in my planning, and then this is how I teach it in the classroom, because this one is about stereotype. This is just one example, yeah. So I show them this. This one is, if I'm not mistaken, this is my closing activity, like for them to have a takeaway, key takeaways from the session. Yeah, so I close my lesson with this. So they need to see a set of pictures from Yang Liu, expressing, like interpreting the Western and the Eastern culture. Yeah, and then after that, the next slide, they were instructed to do this. Yeah, so I always put on the title of the slides. I always share it in written as well, and then I explain while I'm explaining the instruction of the activity. So the ATL skills we are about to practice here is the thinking and communication skill because of blah, 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 because of the activity will be expecting you to blah, blah, blah. And then you are also practicing SEL skills. Yeah, the relationship one, because you will need to discuss with the person is sitting next to you. And then the social awareness is within the context of stereotype itself. Yeah, the topic of discussion itself. Okay, and then they need to discuss in pairs. Yeah, and then after that, they need to write down the discussion result on a discussion board. Yeah, so that's the activity, but I just need to add extra 2 minutes to explain which ATL and SEL skills that they are about to practice in my lesson. But I am trying my best, still practicing, to do it consistently from period to period. So that's the key to a successful development of the skills. Yeah, just dedicating 2 minutes of my lesson to teach it intentionally and explicitly. Yeah. Just one example, but I believe if we have more time here, we would like to also hear sharing from you on how you have been implementing teaching these skills in your subjects. Yeah, and actually we have a practice here, but I think the time we have, Yeah, the time
Less
will
than
not
10
be.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay. Yeah, this can be something that we can think
Mm.
about later, individually. You have
Or
your
something like this.
plan.
Yeah. Miss, I
You
think
have your
if they would like to try this and would like us to take a look at their planning, I think they can do that. I have included our emails at the back. Yeah. So if they want to do it in their own free time, I think they can. Yeah. I mean, if you want to do it, yeah.
Yeah, because I believe everyone has their lesson plan ready for next week or even for the next 2 weeks, yeah, of your sessions. And then you can perhaps look into it and try to modify a little bit. So you have ATL, of course, embedded in it, and then try to find the connections. It can be in the nature or the type of the activity or the topic itself, the topic of your subject itself discussed in the lesson. The last part is one strategy so you won't forget teaching SEL and ATL is to also indicate it clearly the skills being practiced on your teaching aids. Yeah, so it also helps because if I only plan it in my lesson plan, but I don't have it written on my teaching aids or materials, I often forget when I'm in the classroom. Usually, I forget about it and then I just teach my content. Yeah, yeah.
That's
But
true.
if I put it, I plan it before, then I will be able to teach it. Yeah, so that's like one strategy that we can share so far. So, Mr. Bayu, do you still have
Yeah.
any share?
I think that was the last part, but we would like to share this with you. Okay, it's either you can scan it using your phone, or you can click on the link that I've just shared in the chat box. Okay, at the end of it, you can actually take a look at our slides. We've made it into a PDF, and you can download it. So you don't have to wait for the Classipy, what do you call that, platform? Yeah. And yeah, so please help us to improve. Thank you so much. Yeah. Is there any question from anyone?
We really hope that this somehow can be quite insightful for you and can be implemented or at least try to practice the strategy, and hopefully it will work as well.
So I think one of the main problems that teachers face when they were asked to teach SEL was that how do we implement that? But actually, if you look at it, it's actually part of your ATL skills as well. So we are teaching SEL through the ATL skills. Yeah, that's why I think it is quite manageable and doable, yeah, for us to be able to teach SEL as part of our lesson as well. Okay.
Okay, and then if you have further questions, we would love to hear from you, and you can just send email to us or WhatsApp us for those who already had our yeah. Okay. Yeah, we really appreciate your participation. Yeah, thank you so much. And hopefully the sharing, the information being shared, the practices being shared will also be useful for you in your daily teaching practices. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, that's all from us. I think we will stop the sharing first. Yeah, let me stop. Okay.
Yeah, you can find the slides. Yeah, you can see the slides in the exit ticket. We have embed the PDF version of the slides there. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Virgo. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Bayu. Thank you, Ms. Mathilda.
You're welcome.
Have a nice weekend, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Retno.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Astrid.
Yeah, remove, yeah.
Okay. Okay, shall we?
Yeah.
Ya udah.